Welcome back. Today we're going to walk through launching a MemSQL Helios cluster, loading some data in real time, and building a Power BI dashboard on top. So first, you'll want to go to portal.memsql.com and come to the left here for Helios clusters. This is MemSQL's managed service. So if you don't have any clusters, you might see Create Managed Clusters here in the middle, but since I have one, I'm just going to go to Create Cluster at the top right. I will say, we can call this Power BI cluster. Use it for development, and we're going to say we're going to do some ML and AI, as well as some analytics. Go to Next, and I'll just select Free Trial. In a Helios free trial, you get 250 free credits, and a credit is essentially equal to $1. So let's say we want to use our free credits on Azure. We can select how big we want our cluster to be. And the larger the cluster is, the shorter the amount of time you'll have to use it in the free trial. So let's just go with the longest, 1 month. You can see that my credits are applied here for 250 credits. It'll give me 1 month worth of free trial on Helios. I'll just set a password. And for now, I'm going to allow access from anywhere on this cluster. I'll go to Create Cluster. And now we'll wait. Now while we wait, we can check out some videos on how to load data using MemSQL Studio, which you'll see shortly. For now, we'll just wait on this cluster to load and then load some data in. Great. Now our MemSQL Helios cluster is launched. We can jump into MemSQL Studio. I'll just put in the password that I previously put in. And then you can see that in Studio, I have all the information about my database cluster. So I have 3 nodes, 0 databases, 0 pipelines, which will change in a moment, and then just some cluster statistics. If I go into my SQL editor here, I'm going to put in some simple ANSI SQL that I'm going to use to create some tables and some live data coming into Helios. So I'll just start by creating my database. I'll use that database. I'm going to create my table. And this table, as you'll see, just has some AdTech data. So an event, an advertiser, some advertising campaigns, who was targeted, the gender, their income, etc. I'll just go down and create a reference table as well. What this reference table will give me is a number of different campaigns that we're going to associate to all those advertising events. I can insert some values into those campaigns. And next, I'm going to create a pipeline. In Helios, we can connect into various different sources like Kafka, S3, etc. To get real-time and batch data in. So I'm going to connect into this Kafka topic that I have that has real-time ad event data coming in. So I'm going to go ahead and start that pipeline, and in a moment we'll get to see some live data coming in to this table. So as you'll see, we now have live data that's changing in real time coming into our database table. So now let's jump into Power BI to see how we can build a dashboard here. So now we're in Power BI. Now I'm going to walk you through how we can get the data from our MemSQL Helios cluster. We'll just start by going to Get Data here. And since MemSQL Helios is MySQL wire compliant, we'll want to find the MySQL connector within Power BI. So let's just scroll down here to MySQL database, and you'll need some drivers in order to connect to MySQL using Power BI. But when you initially try to do this, you'll see the need for that, and it'll point you directly where you need to go to download those. So if I just select Connect here, I will need to go back to my customer portal to grab the endpoint that MemSQL Helios created for me to tell Power BI where to look for. So I've copied that endpoint, and I'm just going to create that here in the server. and then I will tell it the database name that I have, which is called AdTech. So now you'll see that it's asking for credentials, and what I'll want to do is go to database credentials here on the side and create the credentials that I had originally defined at the beginning when I was creating my MemSQL Helios cluster. So now you'll find that it's identified the tables that I had created originally in my Helios cluster. So I can just select those, and you can see the campaigns table, which I manually inserted values into. You also see a subset of the events from my AdTech events table. Now, if you remember, this table is still updating in real time. If I'd like, I can transform this data, but for now, I'm just going to load it in. So now you'll see we have a blank canvas on which we can build some new visualizations within Power BI. So I have my events table here, which I can say I'm interested in advertiser, in campaign, perhaps even country, and I can get some brief, more textual visualizations here in the platform. I can also introduce a bar chart and start fiddling around with my data. So I have country. I might even just drop country into my data fields here. And I will say region count. I'd like to add my values. And now I have a visualization on region count by country. I can also introduce gender here. If I'd like to just look at gender instead, I'll get a stacked bar chart. And just like this, we can start building much more visualizations within Power BI. And ultimately, we can end up with very cool dashboards like these. And you'll find within this dashboard, it's connected directly to MemSQL Helios. It is quite interactive, wherein I can select various different campaigns that I'd like to use within my analysis. I can even select specific users and find where they're located and identify specific events for them. So you can see specifically this user is attributed to the advertiser Subway in the income range $75,000 to $99,000 in Florida. This is just an example of what you can do with MemSQL Helios and Power BI. We look forward to you joining us by building a Helios cluster on portal.memsql.com and seeing what the possibilities are with Power BI and MemSQL Helios today. Thank you.